former Raiders GM Mike Mayock on Derek Carr, a guy who used to be his team's quarterback. This from the Rich Eisen show.
With Derek Carr, keep in mind, New Orleans restructured his contract recently. So a team that would trade for Derek would only have to pay 1.2 million, the veteran minimum this year. And next year, he makes 40 million, but it's non-guaranteed. So if you were to trade for Derek, you get the opportunity to start a guy this year and be your bridge. If you needed him next year, he could be your bridge for a total of 41 million, 20 million a year for, and if you don't want him year two, you cut him with no consequences. So I kind of look at Derek Carr and I go, okay, if New Orleans was willing to move him, point number one, okay, and if Derek was willing to go to a team like, say, Cleveland, that's a year removed from being an 11-win team with a quarterback-friendly coach who won 11 games with 5 quarterbacks in 1 year. So maybe if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm talking to Mickey Loomis and saying, Mick, would you move him? What would it take? Because it's a $1.2 million contract with Deshaun Watson making all that money. To me, it's a phone call that has to be made. And if you get shut out, at the end of the day, if you're Cleveland and you get shut out, and again, Kevin and Andrew are under some pressure, Derek Carr can step in day one and compete.
And Fred, I know we'll look at your quarterback projection 7.0. Derek Carr was on there. It's kind of interesting that you kind of connect the dots with a guy that's a former GM.
Well, yeah, I believe it was my 2.0 because that's what I really thought made the most sense, going after a Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, especially with a new coach in New Orleans, and there was talk that they weren't really committing to him. Obviously, Mayock would know more about the salary implications than I do. It was under my understanding when he restructured that it would cost, an exorbitant amount for the Saints to move on from him in dead cap, and that's why they couldn't now. But if that is truly the case, it'd be kind of like a Kirk Cousins situation. Is that why would they want to trade him if they have to pay the freight, the majority of the freight? That's why it would be very attractive to the Browns. But if that is the case and you could do that, that would be my number one move because he's only 33 years old, I believe. He's always played well against the Browns. I think he's a very good quarterback. My reasoning in looking at the rankings, he didn't play enough games because he got hurt and missed the last 5 or 6 games, but he would have been the 10th ranked quarterback in the NFL in his statistics and so forth. So I think that would be a tremendous move, and Andrew Berry would know as well as anyone. It would just be a matter would the Saints be willing to do that when they don't really have a quarterback unless they draft, somebody come up and get one of the top ones or Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe or somebody they feel, they're ready to go with, or even Shedeur Sanders. So it is my understanding that Carr has a no trade clause, and so he would have to okay it. But if you showed him, the opportunity with the Browns, maybe he would okay that. It's just, I think the reason Rodgers is being linked to the Steelers so much is because these quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, they don't want to go somewhere and then the team use the second overall pick or the first overall pick or third overall and draft a quarterback, and then they get benched right away, kind of like Kirk Cousins did last year with Michael Penix. And that's why now Cousins saying he's going to wait till after the draft before he waives his no trade. I would think Carr might do the same thing or whatever, but that's why I think a lot of this is kind of sitting still because some of these quarterbacks are not in any hurry, and I can see Rodgers the same thing. I don't want to go somewhere if they got their quarterback with the second or third pick or first overall because they're going to go to them right away.